Hey, good morning, everybody. I just wanted to take 1 minute to tell you that I have begun grading your research papers, and I am really interested in some of your topics. So I might do just some of these little 1 minute get you thinking videos. And today I want to talk about Claire's research paper on the ethics of volunteering. And I guess I'm not going to talk about her paper itself because I want you to read it, but I just want to say a couple of things. So first of all, what are ethics? Ethics are a set of rules that apply in a certain place. So there may be some, overriding cultural ethics that we all adhere to, but generally speaking, ethics are rules that might apply in one place, but they might not apply in another place. I'll just give you a quick example. If you are a teacher and you find out that an adult in the life of one of your students has been abusing that child, your ethical requirement is to report, because your ethical duty is to the student, the child, and to that child's best interest. Now, what if you are a lawyer and that same adult who did the bad thing comes to you and you learn that that adult did in fact abuse a child? You have an ethical duty in this case to your client, and your ethical duty is one of confidentiality. So whereas the teacher had to report you, as the person's lawyer, you may not tell on them what they did. So the ethics of the legal system are one thing. The ethics in the school system are a different thing. There is, just to ease your mind, a caveat for that lawyer. If the lawyer finds out that that person is about to do it again, that's a different story. They're only protected for past actions. Hopefully that makes you feel a little better. But the reason that I wanted to share this with you is just so that you understand that when we're talking ethics, we're talking about a set of rules that applies for, in this case, the situation is volunteers. Are there certain ethics around volunteering, or certain ethics around, I think as Claire is opening her paper, you will notice, around a requirement, an ethical requirement for us all to volunteer in order to help each other. So that's the first question the first thing I would just like to point out is that as you're thinking about Claire's paper, be thinking about whether you think there's a set of rules that particularly applies to volunteering, ethical rules. The second thing that I want to raise is that Claire is proposing right up front in her paper that we should all volunteer. So the first or second, I can't remember, week of school, one of the things that we talked about is what is volunteering. If we all have to do it, is it still volunteering? If your mother makes you do it, is it volunteering? If your boss sends you and some other coworkers out to do something, is that volunteering? And I guess a question that comes up for me is, if we do this, is it still volunteering? That doesn't mean we shouldn't have to do it, but just how would that change how we look at volunteer activity? And one more question along those lines, and that is, are we as human beings truly altruistic? And what that means, if you're not familiar with the word, is that there is at least a part of us that wants to do things, maybe not everything that we should want to, I guess, but that wants to do some things for the good of others just because we know that that's the right thing to do and not because we're going to get any reward for doing them. I think Claire is asserting that we need to put our altruistic foot forward as volunteers, and I guess I would just ask whether you agree with that. All right, so those are just a couple little questions to help to have in the back of your head as you are reading Claire's paper. Claire, thank you for letting me use you as our first example of the semester, and I am so looking forward to this deep dive into some exciting topics, and I urge all of you to take some extra time to read these. I think you'll find them interesting. Have a great week.